Welcome back to the Nourishing Roots channel. Again, I'll be showing you how to love food, adore your body and become yourself. In this week's episode, I'm going to be talking about why we learn to stop loving our bodies and ourselves just the way we are. I'll also be talking about how you can fall back in love with yourself and say no to all the messages that make you believe that you're less worthy than you actually are. So without further ado, let's dive right in deep with this topic. I'd just like to begin by saying that lots of us, over the years, start to fall out of love with ourselves. I'd like to take you back to a time when you might have been about 3 years old, looking in the mirror, or even younger than that, and you looked at yourself with a sense of joy and love, and you were just so intrigued by what you saw in the mirror. You didn't judge yourself, you didn't hate yourself, and you didn't think your thighs looked fat either. Instead, you just simply giggled and went on with your day, and instead you were probably more concerned about what toys you were going to play next or who you were going to play with next, rather than what you actually looked like. But maybe as the years went on, you started to realise that, maybe when you looked in the mirror, you didn't feel as happy as you used to do. You started to feel as though something was wrong with you and that maybe you needed to fix it. These can be different things for everybody, but for me, I looked in the mirror and I used to think my thighs were huge. I used to think that my arms were too flabby. I used to think that I had a double chin. I also used to think that my face wasn't pretty enough, just as like the people that I saw in magazines or at school. And I just felt so unpopular and even unworthy to look in the mirror. In fact, I would avoid mirrors altogether and I refused to have one in my room because it made me feel that bad about myself. Now, I'm not saying that everybody feels like this, because there are people who look in the mirror, like I do now, and actually feel a sense of joy and love for the reflection that stares back at them. But most of us actually don't feel that way. And I'd like to talk to you a bit about why that is and how we can stop thinking that way. Well, I'd firstly like to point to, when did we stop loving ourselves? When did the point come where we transition from that happy little toddler looking in the mirror to that teenager, a young adult, or even middle-aged adult and thinking that I'm just not good enough, I'm not pretty enough? Well, let me tell you a story about where that started for me. Well, when I was back in school, as probably lots of you can also empathise with, that when you're getting changed for PE, it's a bit of a self-destructive environment. You're always comparing yourself to other people. And I remember really vividly one day walking into the school changing rooms, and I got used to get changed in the bathroom toilet because I used to feel so scared of getting changed in front of other people. Because I used to do a lot of running, my legs used to be quite a lot bigger than everybody else's. And that wasn't in an unhealthy way at all. In fact, I was quite muscular as a child because I was a sprinter and I used to have to run really, really fast and I needed big muscles to do that. But when I was a teenager, I just thought I had the biggest thighs ever. And it didn't help that one day, walking into the changing rooms, that one girl shouted, "Oh look, there's thunder thighs." Now, at first, I didn't really feel that bad. It was just afterwards I was reflecting on in my room that, God, my thighs are actually big. And looking around at everybody else in school, everybody seemed so much slimmer to me. And being someone who was never the popular person, never the one that the guys ran after, I began to equate the way that I looked with my popularity. So I began to think that the reason why people don't like hanging out with me, or because I'm not in the popular group, is because of the way I look, and maybe it's because I've got thunder thighs. Of course, that wasn't true at all. It's just that there are so many cliques when you're growing up, and it's actually nothing to do with how you physically look, but inside our heads we equate that to that. The way we look is a symbol of how popular we should be. Another key point in time that really hit me hard was when I went away with one of my best friends to this camp, like a summer camp really in England, and we were staying at this festival. And I didn't know any of her friends because we went away with her cousins and friends. And I remember, like, my friend was so beautiful and lovely and popular. And they named her Princess Leia, and in a way that kind of symbolised how beautiful she was. And instead, my name became Boris. Yeah, I know that sounds really weird, but my name became Boris because apparently Marissa rhymes with Morris, and apparently Morris rhymes with Boris. So instantly, I just felt so masculine and just so unattractive. And I also began to realise that my friend was getting lots of attention from boys at this camp. She was also the one who could make friends so quickly, and she was just like a little social butterfly. Well, I was such an introvert, and I ended up staying in my tent, well, our tent, on my own for most of the camp because I felt like I just didn't fit in. And I felt that that was partly because of the way I looked. And I remember really vividly just sitting on the grass one day on my own while everybody else was having lunch. And I just felt the need to eat loads of food at once. And I felt so disgusted with myself afterwards. I went, this is why you're unpopular. This is why you're disgusting. It's because you're fat and ugly and you've got all these thunder thighs and, you know, you're so masculine. No one will ever love you. And, you know, that camp ended and I went home, and my family and friends commented on the fact that I had gained an awful lot of weight on that camping trip. And that wasn't a bad thing. Actually, looking back, I gained a lot of weight because I was growing and I needed that weight to grow. Also because I'd eaten a lot as well due to comfort eating. But it just perpetuated the cycle of my negative thoughts saying, you're not good enough, you're horrible, you're not pretty enough. And I started to look in the mirror and feel just horrible with myself, to be honest. And slowly but surely from there, from the age of about 12 onwards, it was like this negative spiral downwards where I just began to hate myself rather than love myself anymore. Now looking back, that's really sad to me, and I can only send compassion to that young girl who was going through a lot of shiz at that time. And I'd also like to send some compassion to any of you out there who've also experienced something similar, even if it's not exactly the same, but something that made you feel that you weren't good enough or that your body needed to be fixed or look a certain way. Now, in the next part of this video, I just want to talk about, you know, what are some of the reasons why we begin to think of ourselves as not good enough? Well, one of those reasons is because of the big messages portrayed to us in society. Yeah, we all know the headlines proclaiming the next diet that's out there, or, you know, the next beauty product that we should get. In fact, there are even a lot of YouTubers who do promote a lot of these beauty things and this perfect picture of a perfect life and a perfect body and a perfectly featured face. But for the majority of us, none of us are that blessed with those, you know, attractive looks that are so-called deemed attractive by society. In fact, some of us don't even have enough money to buy the products that we're kind of promoted at in order to look the best that we can or the most perfect. And for me, when I was growing up, I just felt so far apart from that world. I felt like an utter tomboy. As I said, I felt really horrible about myself, unattractive. And I think a lot of the messages out there are so unrealistic to what we can ever attain. But they're like that for a reason. Because if you think about it, the more unrealistic the pictures of beauty are in society, whether you're male or female, the more it is that we feel as consumers of society to want to achieve that and buy into those expectations, which means buying the latest diet products, buying the latest beauty products, watching the latest YouTube videos about the next latest products that you can buy. And without us feeling that need to buy, then we really wouldn't have many businesses running today that are all based around the fashion and beauty industry or the dieting and fitness industry. In fact, the more they can make you feel insecure and less loving of yourself, the better off that they are and the more money that they can bring in. So in other words, every single one of us on an everyday basis is tried to be exploited. Yep, we're exploited every single day. Whether you open a newspaper, a magazine, you go on social media or Instagram, there's all these unrealistic messages saying to us, you aren't beautiful enough as you are now. In fact, you might not even be lovable as you are now. And for someone whose self-esteem might be quite low, especially if you're in your teenage years or young adult years, then that can feel so harrowing. Like, I can't even imagine what some of the young girls go through today, because the pictures that they are sent, whether it's through Instagram or Facebook or magazines, it just sends the wrong type of message to what we should be striving for. Like, in reality, is the perfect body or the perfect face a symbol of a good life? No, it's not. It's actually what we do. It's not what our bodies look like. But when we're so young and vulnerable, and even people at my age or older, we feel like we need to attain these standards of beauty in order to feel loved. And when you look in the mirror, you feel not good enough. But I want to help to show you that that is not acceptable. We shouldn't have to live in that society, and we should be standing up and saying that we don't need to be exposed to those images and standards of beauty that make us feel unloved and unworthy and not good enough. Because deep down, it stops us from reaching our full potential. It stops us from going out there and being who we really are because we feel too scared that we'll be negatively judged. And to go through life avoiding mirrors like I did, or feeling that utter sense of self-loathing when you look in a mirror, it's just an utter and complete waste of time. But I'd like to reassure each and every one of you that you don't have to live that way. You don't have to feel insecure and horrible about your body, because no matter what size you are, what you weigh, what you look like, or how good you are in compared to society's standards of living and beauty, that you are good enough right now. It doesn't matter if you've got a disformed face or you've got a disability and you look in the mirror and think your face is so far off of our ideal beauty standard. It does not matter. What matters is that inside of you, you have a gift to share with the world. You have compassion to give to other people, and you have love to give. I really believe that, as cheesy as this sounds, we were all made in an image of love, and that our real purpose on the planet is to learn how to love ourselves and love others too, whether that's humans, animals, or the whole planet in general. We really need to start breaking away from these ideal standards of beauty and success, because it tears away the love within us. It tears away the love that we could ever have for ourselves or other people, and that is so life-limiting. So on a final note of this video, I want you to think, when did you stop learning to love yourself? When did you look in the mirror and think that you are less than loving than you were as a 3-year-old? Why do you think that might be? When you really question it, it's not because your beauty changed. You've always been beautiful. It's just your thoughts have changed and society's messages have changed. So next time when you look in the mirror and feel unworthy of love, just remember that you already are love, and the only love that you need to learn is the love that you can give to yourself, so then you can give it compassionately to other people. And that is one of the secrets of Nourishing Roots that I'll be sharing with you lots and lots throughout my upcoming videos. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you've got a little love from me from it. And I hope that you can subscribe to this channel, because I just want to share all this love with you, because you deserve it, and so does everybody else. So on that note, I'll wish you goodbye, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. Bye!